Alright, I'll get started pretty soon here. Just doing some more testing. I'm hoping the audio is going to be better today. Should be, in theory. Currently seeing if I can get Bolt Plus to work, which I don't know what the deal is, but it seems like it just doesn't work sometimes. Trying to figure out if they change the URL, the server URL, and the stream key every single time, kind of like Rumble does, which is the worst. While I'm thinking about it, I'm not going to be able to stream to you now. I can talk a little bit more about it later, but basically they don't support RTMP at this time, so I was hoping to stream there, but I actually got an email from support to that effect. Now, if I remember, I'll talk more about that later. It's so weird that my screen is reversed in some platforms. I can't seem to get live space to work either. Yeah, it doesn't work. Alright, so I'm gonna have to go on the live space Discord at some point. They supposedly made it so it automatically starts like every platform should, but it doesn't work at all. I don't know why. It literally does not work at all whatsoever. Well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so I'm not live on you now. I don't think I'm live on Bolt Plus, and I don't think I'm live on LiveSpace, from what I can tell. LiveSpace seems to just not work at all anymore. They've made a bunch of changes, and it was actually a lot better before. Whatever they've done, they've made it worse, unfortunately. Simply just doesn't work anymore. Quite interesting. Yeah, LiveSpace doesn't work. Maybe it's possible to stream direct to LiveSpace from OBS, but using a restream thing, it's just, yeah, it's not. So I'm not gonna do LiveSpace today either. Alright, here we go. Hopefully in the future I'll get this smoother and smoother. Like each time that something doesn't work, I can troubleshoot it between streams and hopefully get it to work between then and the next time. Or I'll just give up on certain platforms until I talk to support on Discord or something, but whatever. we'll see. I'm on the platforms that I'm on, and I don't feel like listing them. So if you see me, I'm on the platform. Okay, so yeah, just get to the reading, and then I'll talk a little bit at the end if I can remember. I should write little notes. There's little things that I think of between the last stream and this one. I'm like, oh, I should talk about that, and I just forget. So, oh well. Okay, where's my Bible? Okay. Because this is a unusual translation, the WEB, the World English Bible, it's public domain. That's why I'm using it, so I can say the entire Bible on my live stream, and there's no consequence whatsoever. In fact, they encourage people to do that. That's why this version of the Bible exists. They were frustrated, just like I am, just like everyone ought to be, that you can't just freely use the Bible, for whatever you want. You can get sued. You can get, just ridiculous, just stupid. Anyway, so this version of the Bible exists for that reason, exactly. So it's awesome. I'm still getting used to it. It's not that different, though. It's really hardly any different at all. It's quite familiar. Just a few little things. All right, so today's reading is going to be from Genesis chapter 8 through chapter 11, verse 26. I don't know if that's the whole chapter 11, but it says 11:26. That's kind of weird. Why wouldn't it just say Genesis 8 through 11? So maybe it's splitting that chapter in half. That'd be my guess. And then, so from Genesis, and then after that, I'm going to read Luke chapter 2, 1 through 38. So yeah, let's start with Genesis chapter 8. Oh yeah, I need to come up with some structure to this. Like, there's not going to be a schedule. I'm not going to have a bulleted list of things that I do. Nothing like that structured, but I do feel like it's important to pray to open up. If I can remember to do that, I may not always do it, but yeah, let's just do that real quick. Yeah. Dear Lord, thank you for this time that we have. Thank you for the freedom to be able to do this kind of thing, live streaming on the internet to whoever. There may not be anybody here, but the point is I can speak freely about such things, at least for now. I feel like it just reminded me of that Harry Potter, what's her name, the character that took over Hogwarts. Yeah, you have that freedom for now. Let's not get negative. Anyway, thank you for the freedoms that we do have today. I pray that you'll continue to give us those freedoms. And yeah, not sure why I got off on that tangent. It's just what happened. But thank you for being with me today and keeping my thoughts at least somewhat on you more than before. I think this Bible reading thing is going to help me be more conscious of my daily decisions, because if I do something to get depressed or just down, I may choose not to read. And so, through the day, I'm thinking of oh, I should try to stay focused or not get distracted or whatever. Otherwise, I might not want to read later. And I want to keep doing this. So, also has a consequence of me maybe making a few better decisions, but also just being thoughtful of you a little bit more. So thank you for that. Pray that will continue. If you have something for me or anybody tonight that you want to make stand out in the reading or otherwise, I pray that you would make that happen. I certainly can't make it happen. No special skills or insights. So, yeah, I pray that as we read your word, or at least as I read your word, I don't know if anyone else will join, but that you would speak to us and change our hearts and cause us not to be just listeners or readers of the word, but to become doers, even in one small thing. We cannot do the whole word. We cannot obey the entire Bible and do everything perfectly. But I pray that just one little thing, we can make a difference. Make one good decision. It's good. It's a good start. Pray that you would bless anyone who might drop by and bless them and protect them from evil and temptation and provide for them. I don't know if anyone has any prayer requests, but people are welcome to share those later as I'm doing this, and I'll try to pray for people. But you know who might drop by and what people need, and I pray that you would be merciful to everyone. Thank you for this new year. I pray that you would help us to keep our eyes on you and to seek things that are profitable in a spiritual sense, not just momentary worldly pursuits. And thank you for all these things. In Jesus' name. Alright, so let's go with Genesis chapter 8. Oh, by the way, I'm not on Kick also. Kick is having problems right now. Like every other time I refresh the page, it has like a bad server gateway 502 error or something. So they're obviously having some kind of, probably a DDoS or whatever, denial of service attack. Something like that. Anyway, so I'm not on Kick today either. So maybe only 9 platforms today. 8 or 9. Okay, yeah, Genesis chapter 8. So last time we left off with Noah on the ark. And all the rain and the great deep had sprung forth and covered the earth. Genesis chapter 8. God remembered Noah, all the animals, and all the livestock that were with him in the ship. And God made a wind to pass over the earth. The waters subsided. The deep's fountains and the sky's windows were also stopped, and the rain from the sky was restrained. The waters continually receded from the earth. After the end of 150 days, the waters receded. The ship rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, on Ararat's mountains. The waters receded continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were visible. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ship which he had made, and he sent out a raven. It went back and forth until the waters were dried up from the earth. He himself sent out a dove to see if the waters were abated from the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place to rest her foot, and she returned into the ship to him, for the waters were on the surface of the whole earth. He put out his hand and took her and brought her to him into the ship. He waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out of the ship. The dove came back to him at evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from the earth. He waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, and she didn't return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from the earth. Noah removed the covering of the ship and looked. He saw that the surface of the ground was dry. In the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ship, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you, of all flesh, including birds, livestock, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Noah went out with his sons, his wife, and his wives, and his sons, I keep saying that backwards, and his sons' wives with him. Every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, whatever moves on the earth, after their families, went out of the ship. Noah built an altar to Yahweh and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Yahweh smelled the pleasant aroma. Yahweh said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, because the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. I will never again strike every living thing as I have done, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night will not cease. Interesting. I have little observations as I'm reading, nothing like profound. I'm not like the kind of guy that likes to find cool things, cool observations. I mean, I think that's useful. I'm not saying that's bad, but I don't like trying to say like, oh, look at how clever I can see some interesting thing in the text. That's never really my goal. Um, for me, it's more if I find something in there that I feel like is speaking to me, like it's has potential to make me think differently about my internal life or the way I deal with God or with other people. I think that's more important to focus on. But at the same time, sometimes I just can't help but notice some weird random observation. And so I might mention some of those if they come to mind. This time, one of the things that I noticed was the different word choices. Like, honestly, like, there is no case for this whole the Bible's corrupted and blah, blah, blah. Translations are no good, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're all really good. I mean, I'm not aware of any that are corrupted. People have these strong arguments, and I'm not really into that divisive stuff, but I've done the research. I've done a pretty extensive research on all the Bible versions, and I've come to the conclusion that they're all useful for the same purpose that the Bible was made for. You can get the same truth out of it, the same instructions, the same inspiration, the same spirit, talking to you. All of that stuff that you're supposed to be able to get from the word is there in all of the versions that I've looked at. And they don't, you know, ruin it. But the thing that's weird is, it really bugs me that ever since I learned that, like, in order to not break a copyright of a previously published Bible, they have to change a certain percentage of words to be different than all the others that already exist out there with a copyright. That bugs me so much because it's like change for change's sake. It's not like there is a good word. Like one example is the waters subsided in verse 1, and there's um, I think receded is the word that I think of more commonly, which is in verse 3. The waters continually receded from the earth. That just sounds more natural. Oh, actually, subsided is fine. Waters that subsided, that just means they're no longer increasing, I think. But receded is a good word. But then later it said abated, I think, somewhere. And that really stood out to me. It's like, wait a minute, abated. I actually have to think about that word because it's not, I mean, I've certainly heard it and it's in my vocabulary, sort of, but I don't really have a full understanding of what it means. So if they were to use the most obvious word, which would be receded, I think, then that would be better. But because they have to do this dance around the copyrights, they have to change some words. They probably mean exactly the same thing, pretty much, but it's just annoying to me a little bit that they have to do that. Because sometimes the words they choose are not the most clear, like the ones that are really obvious in my vocabulary, so I have to like, wait, what does that mean? Yeah, it's just one of those things that bugs me about copyright laws and stuff. Like, just, there's a word in English that's the best word, use it. Who cares about stupid copyright? I'm really dumb. Is there anything else that stood out? Not really. Like there was something, but I don't remember this. Yahweh said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, because the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. That's weird. Probably later in another place is the thing about the rainbow, and where God makes his covenant not to destroy all life on earth because of, or through a flood. I mean, that whole thing. But this is different. Like it's I will not again curse the ground anymore, which, like, that calls back in my mind to what we just read in Genesis 1 or something, where it was, or no, probably Genesis 3. Doesn't matter, but where the ground was cursed because of sin. It seems like it was more specifically because of Cain's sin, but that was really just a curse on him. I don't know if that was the general curse, but like it would make growing plants a lot harder because the ground is cursed because of sin of man. That whole thing, and then the whole childbirth, pain in childbirth, all those things, and then eventually your years will be 120 and all that stuff. But I think it's interesting here that it says, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake. It's almost like, I don't know if that's calling back to that curse, because it's almost like he canceled that part of the curse. But in reality, as far as I know, it's still hard to till the ground, unless it was even harder for a short period of time, like right out of the garden after the fall of man. It was like crazy hard. And then God said, "Oh, I have compassion, and I'm not going to do that anymore." I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think I've noticed that verse. That's verse 21, Genesis 8:21. I don't recall remembering that before. Okay, so let's go on to chapter 9 of Genesis. God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you will be on every animal of the earth, and on every bird of the sky. Everything that moves along the ground, and all the fish of the sea are delivered into your hand. Every moving thing that lives will be food for you. As I gave you the green herb, I have given everything to you. But flesh with its life, that is, its blood, you shall not eat. I will surely require accounting for your life's blood. At the hand of every animal I will require it. At the hand of man, even at the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, his blood will be shed by man. For God made man in his own image. Be fruitful and multiply, increase abundantly in the earth, and multiply in it." God spoke to Noah and his sons, with him, saying, "As for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every animal of the earth with you. Of all that go out of the ship, even every animal of the earth, I will establish my covenant with you. All flesh will not be cut off any more by the waters of the flood. There will never again be a flood to destroy the earth." God said, "This is the token of my covenant, which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it will be a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. When I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow will be seen in the cloud, I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters will no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow will be in the cloud. I will look at it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, "This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." The sons of Noah who went out from the ship were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. Noah began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and got drunk. He was uncovered within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it on both their shoulders, went in backwards, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were backwards, and they did not see their father's nakedness. Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him. He said, "Canaan is cursed. He will be a servant of servants to his brothers." He said, "Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant." Noah lived 350 years after the flood. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and then he died. I'm enjoying reading this. It's been a while. I keep noticing the linguistic things. Some of the sentences are written in a slightly unusual way. And I'm almost certain that a lot of that is just because they had to make it just a few words different, even though it has the same meaning. They just had to make it slightly different for copyright reasons. Like verse 20, Noah began to be a farmer. That's a lot of words. Like you'd literally have exactly the same meaning and everything there if you said Noah became a farmer or Noah started farming. Like that's not an error in translation. All of those mean exactly the same thing. You're not losing anything by phrasing it differently. But they chose Noah began to be a farmer. So that kind of stuff. It's like it doesn't change anything. It's just phrasing it, a slightly different way or whatever. And since I don't know Greek or Hebrew, I can't easily study those languages and see what the original phrasing was. And it's kind of irrelevant too, because when you're translating from one language to the other, you don't do word for word in the same order. Like even from English to like Spanish or something like that, the word order is different, and it sounds bad or wrong if you say it in the same order from Spanish to English. Like the adjectives come after the nouns instead of before, kind of thing. And there's so many other similar changes that, so when you're translating, you don't just do, oh, this word is this, next word it's this, next word it's this. You have to restructure the whole sentence to flow naturally. So let's see, let's go to chapter 10 of Genesis. Now, this is the history of the generations of the sons of Noah and of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. I don't know. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Of these were the islands of the nations divided in their lands, everyone after his language, after their families, in their nations. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteka. The sons of Rama were Sheba and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Yahweh. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Out of that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and the great city Calah. Mizraim became the father of Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, which the Philistines descended from, and Caphtorim. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward the families of the Canaanites were spread abroad. The border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go toward Gerar to Gaza. As you go toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim to Lasha. These are the sons of Ham, and after their families, according to their languages, in their lands and their nations. Children were also born to Shem, the elder brother of Japheth, the father of all the children of Eber. The sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah. Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jira, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were sons of Joktan. Their dwelling extended from Mesha as you go towards Sephar, the mountain of the east. These are the sons of Shem by their families, according to their languages, lands, and nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah by their generations, according to their nations, the nations divided from these in the earth after the flood. Phew, those names are tough. A lot of those are transliterated from another language, so if you were to say those names in the other language, they may or may not sound anything like these. It's interesting, though, that some of them were made to be more common names, like John or Peter. That's not what those guys are called at all, not even close, in the original language. It's kind of like when you go to another country. I don't know if anyone has experienced that. I have. Where you go to another country and they say a close approximation of your name, or there's like a version of your name in their language. Let's see, what's an example? Can't think of an example like just offhand, but there's names that like are just different in other languages. Like they don't even have the same letters, and then some of them are kind of similar, very close. It's just weird. Like a name is a name, you know. It's like when you call someone by their name, you don't really think Juan. Yeah, like that's a good example. Like John, isn't that John? Hey Leo, it's good to see you. It's a great example. I was trying to think of like Tiago. What's Tiago? Is that Timothy? No, that's, I can't remember what Tiago is. Anyway, it's a completely different sounding name than the English equivalent. And it's like if you go to another country, like why would they say your name differently? It's just weird. That one of the, I don't actually get bothered too much by that stuff, but the thing that bothers me a little bit, and I wish I could say properly sometimes, is like God's name and Jesus's name. It's like if you're a religious person, like a Christian or whatever, it seems weird to worship God, but you don't even know what his name is. It's like the one that you're supposed to be the closest with, to know the most about, or to seek intimately and stuff. And it's like, hey, what's his name? Oh yeah, God, what's his name? That guy, you know. It's weird. And then like with Jesus, like I've done quite a bit of research on Jesus. That name is not really what he would have been called when he was on earth. And I don't know what he thinks about that. Like when I go to some country and they say my name in their language and it's a little different, I just say, oh, okay, I guess that's fine. You know, I just be polite and stuff. But if someone was my close friend, I would want them to call me my actual name, you know, or at least a nickname or something like intimate or showing that they actually know who I am, not some weird, like distorted version of my name. I just find that strange, but I, it's weird too because I don't think words are magical in the context of the Bible. Like in superstitions and like uh, fiction and stuff, words can have like power. You know, like there's magic spells. Like if you say a certain word, then these crazy things happen, or you know, stuff like that. And as far as I'm aware, that's not how it is in Christianity. There's not like any magic words that you can say that just make these crazy powerful things happen. I think it's more um, being aware of the movements of the Spirit so much that you, I don't know, I don't know what the right word is, but God is sovereign. He's above all. You can't be told what to do. Like you can't say a magic word and God's like, oh, I'm bound. I have to do what this person said. And so he's like a genie, like, oh, you said the magic words, and so I'm going to do my miracles. I don't think that's how it works, but at the same time, the one thing that gets me a little bit, and we'll read this later, a long time later, sometime this year, about there's power in the name of Jesus. Like his name actually has power, and that's one exception. But if that's the case, is it just the idea of his name, like a call out to his personhood, or is it an actual word specifically? You know, like you have to say it the way that he originally said it when he was on earth, which might have been something like Yeshua or something. Um, I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that, but I think about that a lot, and I wonder what he thinks about it, because it doesn't matter what we think about it, but I wonder what he thinks about it. What does he think when we say, like for example, if you're in a Spanish-speaking country, you might say Jesus. Uh, in English, we typically say Jesus, unless you're like part of a sect that gets really picky about it. You might say Yehoshua or Yeshua, or there's a bunch of different variations. I just wonder, you know, does he care? I mean, like if you call out to his name essentially means like a cry, a saving cry. I think something like that. It's actually Joshua. Like it's closer to Joshua, which is interesting because I'm kind of surprised that that wasn't the word that was chosen in English translations, because that would be a lot closer to Yeshua, Joshua, very similar, you know. Anyway, I just find it interesting, but I don't know the answers. I wonder. I don't really care about the scholarly stuff so much as more like connecting with the actual spiritual significance of the words and the concepts. And I hope that God reveals those things to me if he chooses to, but if he doesn't, I just have to be satisfied with what I know, and some things I'll never know. Alright, on to Genesis chapter 11. I'm not sure if I'm reading the whole chapter, but I actually put it in Bible Gateway, the exact passage, so we're going to go from verse 1 to 26. I don't know if that's the whole chapter or not, but Genesis 11. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Interesting that we were just talking about languages. As they traveled east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they lived there. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and burn them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they used tar for mortar. They said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower whose top reaches to the sky, and let's make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth." Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. Yahweh said, "Behold, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do." Little bit of, before I forget, it's like, and this is what they begin to do? That's how I'm reading that for some reason. Behold, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do? That's the way I'm reading it. It's probably just, and this is what they begin to do. Now nothing will be withheld from them which they intend to do. Come, let's go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from there on the surface of all the earth. They stopped building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused the language of all the earth. From there Yahweh scattered them abroad on the surface of all the earth. This is the history of the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he became the father of Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years after he became the father of Arpachshad and became the father of more sons and daughters. Arpachshad lived 35 years and became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after he became the father of Shelah and became the father of more sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years and became the father of Eber. Shelah lived 403 years after he became the father of Eber and became the father of more sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and became the father of Peleg. Eber lived 430 years after he became the father of Peleg and became the father of more sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and became the father of Reu. Peleg lived 209 years after he became the father of Reu and became the father of more sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years and became the father of Serug. Reu lived 207 years after he became the father of Serug and became the father of more sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years and became the father of Nahor. Serug lived 200 years after he became the father of Nahor and became the father of more sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and became the father of Terah. Nahor lived 119 years after he became the father of Terah and became the father of more sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Yeah, I guess in all of this older stuff, I mean, for me, that name stuff is more than just like scholarly stuff. For me, it goes a lot deeper. It goes into knowing God, which I think is one of the most important things about religion, if you want to call that, in my case, Christianity. For me, Christianity is set apart as something different than the standard religions. But so it's not just like, oh, I want to know all these nitty gritty little details of stuff so I can sound cool or educated or impressive to people. Actually, like, bleh, when I think of those concepts, like I can't judge what other people are using their knowledge for, but sometimes I get the sense that their gathering of knowledge is to make themselves look a certain way or impress others, or boast or something like that. I don't think everyone does it for that reason. So I try not to judge that, but sometimes you catch a glimpse of a tone in their voice, and it seems like, oh, you're trying to look cool. Yeah, great, good for you. But that's something that I've never wanted to do. I've resisted it, and in some ways, I've actually stunted my academic growth because I do not want to be above others or see myself as above others in any way. Like, ooh, I'm a teacher, I'm a scholar, I'm a smart dude, I'm a guru or something. It's like, yuck. I don't want that stuff. But I do want to know the things that will lead me closer to God and also in greater obedience to Him, but also to understand His ways better so that I can please Him. It's not about like, rules and regulations. It's like, like any relationship, if you truly love someone, you want to know more about them and to make them happy. It's like an actual relationship. Um, so yeah, that's kind of why I study the Bible or why I'm reading it. I'm not just doing this weird religious practice that's like blah 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 blah. Just read the stuff. I'm seeking for ways to know Him better. And some of these chapters, it's hard to get that out of it. It's kind of just like, oh, what's a genealogy? But it's amazing sometimes what He can do, even in that weird kind of boring stuff. So it doesn't happen every time, but sometimes you're just like kind of mechanically reading it, but other times He'll just pull something out and you're like, whoa. And that's what I enjoy when it happens. Can't say it happens all the time, but sometimes. Okay, so sometimes I'll just like, I can't even finish the sentence. I'm just like, I'm about to burst into tears and I don't even know why. It's just so powerful to me. Like I read a verse and it's like blasting me and I can't even get through it. And you'll probably see that on stream sometimes because there's certain verses that I read. I'm just like, oh my goodness, that brings back so many memories of how God has used that in my life, or just reading it again. It's just like floods back all of those. It just has so much more significance. It's not just words on a page to me. And sometimes that happens, but sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, so let's go on to Luke. Matthew, Mark, Luke, third book in the Bible. That's one of those things like, I believe I still know the books of the Bible. I'm terrible at memorizing stuff of any kind. For the longest time, I used to know all the states and capitals. It's just one of those things that I remembered. I think I've kind of forgotten those, but I believe I still remember the books of the Bible, as far as I know. Okay, so yeah, Luke chapter 2, verses 1 through 38. And I think, let me see, is this gonna, no, we're still not doing the genealogy in Luke. Did we do that already? I don't remember. I don't think so. I was kind of expecting it to do that as a parallel to what we just read, but so we'll just see what happens. I don't remember. Now in those days a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment made when Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to enroll themselves, everyone to his own city. Joseph also went up to Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, to David's city, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family of David, to enroll himself with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him as wife, being pregnant. While they were there, the day had come for her to give birth. She gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a feeding trough, because there was no room for them in the inn. There were shepherds in the same country, staying in the field and keeping watch by night over their flock. Behold, an angel of the Lord stood by them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. The angel said to them, "Don't be afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy, which will be to all the people. For there is born to you today in David's city a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. This is the sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in strips of cloth, lying in a feeding trough." Suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly army, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, on earth peace, good will toward men." When the angels went away from them into the sky, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem now and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us." They came with haste and found both Mary and Joseph, and the baby was lying in the feeding trough. When they saw it, they publicized widely the saying which was spoken to them about this child. All who heard it wondered at the things which were spoken to them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these sayings, pondering them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen, just as it was told them. When 8 days were fulfilled for the circumcision of the child, his name was called Jesus, which was given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. If I remember, I'll say something about that. Probably forget. When the days of their purification according to the law of Moses were fulfilled, they brought him up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, as it is written in the law of the Lord. Every male who opens the womb shall be called holy to the Lord. That's from Exodus 13:2 and 12. And to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. Leviticus 12:8. I actually like that it has those cross references. Behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. This man was righteous and devout, looking for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was on him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ. He came into the temple when the parents brought in the child Jesus, that they might do concerning him according to the custom of the law. Then he received him into his arms and blessed God and said, "Now you are releasing your servant, Master, according to your word, in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before the face of all peoples, a light for revelation to the nations, and the glory of your people Israel." Joseph and his mother were marveling at the things which were spoken concerning him, and Simeon blessed them and said to Mary his mother, "Behold, this child is set for the falling and the rising of many in Israel, and for a sign which is spoken against. Yes, a sword will pierce through your own soul, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed." There was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age, having lived with a husband 7 years from her virginity, and she had been a widow for about 84 years, who didn't depart from the temple worshipping with fastings and petitions night and day. Coming up that very hour, she gave thanks to the Lord and spoke of him to all those who were looking for redemption in Jerusalem. It's cool. I wonder how many people heard about Jesus from these people. There's the shepherds that what does it say? What's the word? I remember it was kind of an unusual word. Oh, publicized. When they saw it, they publicized widely the saying which was spoken to them about this child. That's probably an appropriate word, but it's a weird choice of a word. I'm sure other translations have a different word. But then, so you could have heard about Jesus from the shepherds, and later, the wise men or magi came, and I'm sure they told a bunch of people as they were coming and going. And Simeon, this man who had knew that he was going to die as soon as Jesus came. I wonder how quickly that happened. It's like he's dead immediately, or it's like, oh, finally I get to settle down. And kind of reminds me, I watched Harry Potter recently, so I think of Nicholas Flamel. It's like, oh, he doesn't have the Sorcerer's Stone, so he can't make the elixir of whateverness. So he's gonna die soon. Just kind of reminds me of that. And then this Anna prophetess, she's going all over the place telling everybody about Jesus that she saw. It's interesting. Kind of like John the Baptist preparing the way, but there's all these other people that were spreading the word too. I like reading this story. It's interesting. I'm kind of a little bit surprised that this reading plan didn't intentionally align it with Christmas. It's pretty close to Christmas, but that was what, 2 weeks ago, or a little over a week ago, whatever. It's always fun to read this, especially Luke. Matthew also has the accounts, but Luke goes into more detail. And my family sort of somewhat traditionally read Luke, but not we didn't make a lot out of it or some kind of, well, let's sit down and do the thing that we do every year. It was more just sometimes we read that together around Christmas, but not always. But I've always enjoyed doing that. We don't really do a lot of Christmas stuff anymore. I know a lot of people these days have kind of canceled Christmas, because it's not any new revelation. Everyone's always known that it has pagan origins, but everyone's really hung up on that these days, or a lot of people are. So they've chosen to boycott Christmas, and so they just humbug and don't celebrate, or whatever they do. They consider it evil or something. I'm not into that. I'm not that extreme. I understand, their concerns, but I mean, what does it matter what the origin of a day or a celebration is when it's been completely changed into a different celebration? I don't see the legalism being useful, but that's just me. I don't try not to get down on people that have different ideas, but I still generally enjoy the decorations and the festivities and the lights and getting together and traditions and all that stuff. I find it very valuable, and I find it like a cheery, nice, warm time of year, even though it's typically colder in my hemisphere. Just the warmth internally of being with family and thinking about, I guess, positive things. I enjoy it. But yeah, we don't really do a lot for it. We don't open presents anymore. Me and my family, we're all kind of grown up adults, so we don't really do that. I think the kids do. My sister has a bunch of kids, and they still do presents and stuff. But I haven't been in the presence of presents for a long time, where you have a bunch of stuff under the tree and open the packages and all that kind of thing. It's been a long time since I've done that. But even that's enjoyable. Like, I don't think very many people actually believe in Santa Claus or anything like that. I don't know if I ever did, really. It's not for me. It's not about Santa Claus. It's more of a religious holiday for me, just because of how I grew up. But yeah. Anyway, I still, even the secular stuff. I enjoy some of the secular Christmas songs, like Frosty the Snowman or whatever. The stuff that doesn't talk about Jesus, like, it's not like I boycott. Oh, it's not Jesus, so I can't possibly take part in that. I'm just not that extreme. I certainly don't hold Santa Claus in high regard. He's no one of importance to me, but it's not that big of a deal to me. Um, Anyway, it's a good time of year. It's kind of sad that it comes and goes so fast. Like, I'm living in a town by myself now, so it's not quite the same. It was cool because my parents came and visited me, so I got to be with them. But I guess it was kind of like Christmas, but we didn't really do a lot of Christmassy things. I don't know. I think it's fun to find something Christmassy to do, like whether that's going to a light show or like a Christmas performance where people are singing or playing instruments or just whatever. Like, I guess I typically go to a church service. Like, my parents and I went to a Christmas Eve service at a church that I don't even go to. Like, I think I've been there one time ever in my entire life. But we decided to go there because they had a evening service, which I like the evening Christmas Eve services because they usually do the candlelight type service and sing songs, and it's just a cool atmosphere, and I really miss evening church services. Like, they're really special to me, so that's one of the few times of the year that I can go somewhere in the evening, because most churches have gotten rid of church evening services, which makes me angry. But yeah. Anyway, that was fun. It was actually pretty cool. I liked that. I think my parents liked it too. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what else I was going to talk about. Not a whole lot. Oh, I stayed up all night last night. I don't really know why. Like, I guess I was working on random stuff. Like, for those that don't know, I've been posting on YouTube quite regularly. My hiking videos, I'm like way behind. I'm doing 360 videos, so you can like spin the video around and see everything on the sides and up and down and behind me and all that stuff. I've always wanted to do that, and I'm finally just doing it. I'm trying to get faster at editing them and just throwing them up there, so I don't spend hours and hours and days for every single hike I go on. But it does take quite a long time, and the files are huge, so it takes pretty, it slows your computer down while you're trying to do the edits and uploads and conversions and all that stuff. Anyway, that's that, and what else is going on? Not a whole lot, really. I'm kind of hoping that this Bible reading leads into something not necessarily related to the Bible reading, because that doesn't usually happen, but I think doing it might open up some pathway in some weird invisible sense in my life, I hope. Otherwise, like, I guess I'll just keep living the way I have been, which has been really difficult, barely surviving. But yeah, I'm hoping things change for the better soon. But if that does happen, I will have less time. Like, if I get a job, I will have less time to work on hobbies or go hiking or even doing this live streaming thing. So I have no idea what's going to happen this year or when it's going to happen or Yeah. Honestly, I often pray that my time is coming soon. I really pretty done with this world, but that doesn't mean that I'm done in the sense that God is done with me. So if He has things that He wants me to do, I'll live as long as He wants. I just hope it's not till I'm 95 years old. I'd rather be done with it sooner than that. The way things are going, but who knows what He has in mind. Hopefully I figure it out one of these days. But yeah, there were some other things I was going to say, but I don't remember what. I watched a few cool movies. Like, I've been going to a local library in a small town. It's because I don't know. I've been wanting to get back into writing. Oh, I remembered that one of the reasons I haven't been writing in my journal or writing in general is I got new contacts and the optometrist changed my prescription to a more like distant correction so I can see things far away, but I have a really hard time focusing on things that are kind of close or whatever. And so I was realizing recently that that's part of the reason, if not most of the reason, why I haven't been writing, because it's a real struggle. And even with, like, I got some reading glasses to kind of dial back that distance thing. But like, even with these, it strains my eyes to like read things kind of up close. So I don't know, I'm hoping these contacts will kind of wear out soon and I can go back to my old prescription that doesn't correct so much, because I think my eyes have been strained pretty a lot lately, especially in dark evening circumstances. But yeah, and reading's difficult, all that stuff. Like, I know I have the old guy thing where you see your vision changes and stuff, but I think it's even more extreme because of those contacts that I got, and it's really annoying. But yeah, whatever. Um, oh, but yeah, I went. I don't like go to the library to get books, but they have DVDs and stuff, and so I've been renting or borrowing random movies, and I watched a couple pretty good ones. I don't know if I can remember what they are. I think one of them was A Place of No Words, which I'd never heard of, but it was kind of cool. The thing that was cool about it to me was that the three main characters are actually a family in real life, and they also had the same names as their real life people in the movie. So essentially, it was like a movie of their life, except I think the story was fictional, but they kept their same names from reality, and they're actually a family in real life. So I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of similar to when what's his name? Will Smith did that movie with his son, Pursuit of Happiness or whatever. Kind of like that, same vibe, pretty emotional, and the acting was really good because they're not really acting; they're just hanging out with each other and doing stuff that a family would do. So it doesn't feel fake. Anyway, so yeah, A Place Without Words was decent, and then I also watched, what's that called? I'm not gonna be able to remember. I think it's called Wind Rises. The Wind Rises. It's a Studio Ghibli movie. I'm not like really that into anime at all, but I do like the Studio Ghibli movies. I haven't seen all of them, but anyway, I just watched that. That was pretty good too. Both of those movies actually had a similar theme dealing with the loss, and it was pretty kind of hit me pretty hard. And I'm just like, oh man, I hope this isn't a sign that I have to deal with that pretty soon. I can't handle that, but we'll see. I'd rather be the one that's lost, make other people deal with losing me than have to lose loved ones in my life, because I have so few of those already. losing one of those is like, oh, I don't think I can make it without them. And then, yeah, there's so few things that really give me purpose or joy in a real sense, and relationships with my good friends and family are one of those things. So it's like, no, don't make me lose them. I need their strength. I need their support just to make it through. So I'd rather be the one that goes early, and then I think most people are stronger than I am, so I think they can handle it. If I'm the one that goes early, and I won't have to deal with losing them. Anyway, on a cheerful note, I guess I'll leave it at that. The other movies that I just picked up today, which I haven't seen yet, either of them. We got Free Guy with, is that Ryan Reynolds, I think? I have not seen that. I don't know if it's any good. It's not really, doesn't look like my type of movie, honestly. But I haven't seen it, so I grabbed that. And then, I can't even read this because my vision's so bad right now. It's dark. Oh, Average Joe. Average Joe. It looks like a superhero spoof movie maybe, or maybe not a spoof, but just like a regular kind of lesser tier superheroes with a bunch of faults. They've made a few movies like that in the past. I don't remember the name of them, but it looks like another one of those. So I don't know if it'll be any good, but I'll watch those. And I also got Avatar: The Way of Water, which I haven't seen yet. I don't go to the theater anymore, so I haven't seen most of the new movies, and some of them I intentionally avoid. Like, I'm essentially kind of boycotting Disney, Star Wars, and um, all that stuff because I don't like that company anymore. They've just gone down the tube. So I don't even go see those big blockbusters at all. And generally, I just don't go to the theater anymore. So it's usually years before I see some of the big title movies come out. So anyway, I think I'm going to end the stream. So yeah, the way this is going to go, it's kind of, I do the Bible reading thing, but then I also just chit chat. If there's anybody in chat, I would chat with them, but otherwise I'm kind of just doing a vlog type thing, just talking about whatever is going on each day. If there's nothing really to talk about in that regard, then I'd probably just do the Bible reading and end the stream real quick. I'm going to try to do the chapter thing like I did on YouTube, where I put the timestamps for each chapter. So if all you want to do is, if you're interested in joining this reading plan thing and want to do it with my channel or whatever, I mean, I don't see any reason to do it with me unless you like me as a person or like the way I talk or something. But just do it if you're really wanting to read the Bible. Just do it. You don't have to wait for me to decide what I'm going to do. But anyway, I'm going to put the timestamps with the chapters in there to make it a little bit easier to just skip straight to the Bible reading if that's what you're interested in. So yeah. Oh, and shoot, I'm going to say something. I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'm going to get back into the creative streaming. I'm still debating. I think I'm going to be doing enough with just the Bible reading thing that's going to be what I'm going to do, if anything. And like, if I'm going to stream almost every day already with Bible stuff, I don't know that I want to also do my other things. But I might get back into book binding at some point, and if I do that, I would enjoy streaming that. The other thing I could do, which would be exceedingly boring, is I've been spending a lot of time editing my videos, my hiking videos, so I could just do that on stream before I upload them, but nobody's going to watch that. So, but for me, it's never really been trying to do something interesting. It's always been doing stuff. And if people come and hang out or say hi, then that I get enjoyment out of that and socialize and make connections and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just needed a long break. I took like a 4-month break, and I'm doing the Bible thing, but I'm still kind of on break from my other streaming content. But I may just suddenly randomly decide to do it again. Who knows? We'll see. But anyway, I think that's about it. If I would have written down notes, I think there was a few other things I was going to talk about, but I don't remember them right now. So if I think of them for the next stream, that'll give me something to talk about. But yeah, I've already talked way too long. So yeah, thanks to anybody that might be lurking or thinking about joining. And don't be ashamed. Like, be ashamed if you want to. Like, if you want to join, but you don't want to tell anybody that you're doing it because Bible is embarrassing, religion is whatever. That's fine. Don't worry about it. That's not how I feel about that stuff. But if that's where you're at, totally understand. You don't have to call notice to yourself. But yeah, if you're enjoying it, great. If not, nobody ever watches. I'm still gonna do it because it's something I want to do, and it's for some reason I decided to do it on stream. At least for now. I don't know if I'll do the entire year, like the whole reading plan. Like, I have this PDF. I made up my own PDF of the reading plan because I didn't like the one on their website. I'm doing this plan from intoyourbible.org, and they have a PDF, and I didn't like it at all, so I redid it and I printed it out on one page. So yeah, it's 52 weeks, the whole year, going through the Bible. So we'll see what happens. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I will see you all next time. Or I won't see you, but I'll be here. Later.